Private Healing Diary, Video 1, Part 1. I had to delete most of my content. I noticed that a lot of my videos were being hidden, so people could only watch like certain videos, but not all of them. So it made no sense to go from one video, Part 1, and then go to Part 3 or Part 5 while the rest were hidden. I don't know why. I don't know if they got flagged. I don't know if I said things that were kind of like red flags or whatever. But I mean, it's part of my healing. It's part of my journey. It's part of everything I've been through. I don't know what else to say. The check-in for this week. I know that I haven't been posting videos, and I did record a few. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go 0101. I don't know if I'm gonna go ahead and post them, but ever since my daughter's birthday on the 4th of April, I've had everything switched for me. And like I said in a previous video that I may or may not post, it came in waves because, after I went through all these tower moments, after I went through so much, after I purged, after I tried to understand, after I tried to heal everything, I started noticing that my perspective changed with a lot of things. Not only with myself, but the way that I think, the way that I feel, the way that I process, the way that I release, the way that I allow things to be. And honestly, for so long, I wanted to have that control. I saw 211. I wanted to have control of my life. I wanted to, manifest, plan, do, 222. I wanted to just be great. The thing is that I didn't realize that in order to be great, I had to allow life to teach me how to be great instead of me just assuming I was already great. Due to my huge ego, I'm not gonna lie. Because my ego is something that, I love dearly. However, it did fuck me up in a lot of situations. It did fuck me up in a lot of things. But it is not something that I want to get rid of. Like I've said before, I am not going to be for everybody. And I am perfectly okay with that now. I dealt with my people pleasing shit already. That's dealt with. I saw 311. And after I released the control of the people pleasing and all of that, like I started noticing a huge change within myself. Not only was I less stressed, what they thought about me, they thought that I was 333, whether they thought that I was mean, cruel, whatever, it doesn't matter. The point is that I'm a very kind person and I'll always be kind up until they give me a reason or if I'm not having a good day. And the people that love you will understand that. The people who do care for you will give you that space, will give you that time to either process, to get your shit together, or they will be there for you if that's what you need, because each of us needs something different. Like, we're not all the same. But the thing is, this whole month has just been crazy. I mean, April I already love. It's my birthday month, but during the 421, speaking of my birthday, but during the eclipse, that was when the second wave hit. And at first, with my daughter's birthday, it was with my emotions. I know I went from part to part, 444. Just try to keep up. Okay, ADHD problems. But I dealt with all of my emotions And within those emotions, that's where I realized like a lot of these emotions, a lot of these triggers, a lot of these unnecessary anxieties came from the deep rooted issues that I saw 0505 that my parents engraved in me. I'm Mexican. In our culture, it is a requirement to be polite, be respectful, especially towards our elders, especially towards anybody who's older than you. Um, you're not supposed to treat them like equals. You're supposed to treat them with respect. You're supposed to listen. You're supposed to be there for them. You're supposed to help them. Blah, 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 blah. The thing is that when I started breaking all these generational curses, all these generational traumas, and I noticed that a lot of the things that my culture was taught is based off of trauma. 555. It is based off of fear. It is based off of trying to be perfect in a society full of broken people. And I love mi raza. I love us. Like, I love our culture. I love everything. But I also know that we are toxic as shit. I know that because I myself came from that not so long ago. The way we express ourselves, the way we think, how we think that we're supposed to kill ourselves working to make a buck instead of working smarter. Because if you work smarter, somebody who's been working harder will label you as lazy, will label you as like not being worth as much as the hardest worker out there. And that was another part of my traumas that, I had to release during the eclipse, during my daughter's birthday. Like, all of these things happened. And even though I made a lot of separate videos, like, I saw 0707. I wanted to make one that kind of just summed up the whole month because, it started getting better. It started getting better. But it wasn't until I released control. After I released the need to want to know the outcome. Because I was obsessed with listening to readings, to trying to do my own readings, to trying to read the signs. And so much information ended up confusing me, ended up making me go down another bad path. Self-sabotaging, having doubts, starting to lose my faith, starting to lose my hope. But, like, you know what? Like, I still pushed through it. Because even though I was so scared for the outcome of what was to come next, um, the universe kept reassuring me that I was going the right way, that I was making 0808, that I was making the right choices for me. Because I'm only in charge of me. I'm not in charge of, like, anybody else. I'm still trying to correct my own ways. And obviously, there's still a lot that I'm still trying to process, especially new things that were brought up. And, but everything just started falling into place. Everything had to fucking collapse in order for it to fall into place. It's kind of like building your empire, watching it fall to the ground, and realizing you still have those bricks of gold. You still have all of this material to rebuild something better and bigger. Because now I'm not starting out of nothing. Like, I'm starting out of experience. I saw 911, which to me that means tower moment. So all these tower moments are just building me to the life that I imagine me having already. To the life that I manifested for myself, for my family, for my loved ones. Like, everybody that did not fit in that category, or everybody who did not need to come with me, will not come with me. Regardless of how much I want to hold on to people, regardless of how much I try. And the same goes for other people. Like, if I am not meant to be in their life, I won't be in their life. But if I am meant to be in their life, then regardless of anything, I will always gravitate back. You know what I mean? So, like, it's one way of me releasing control issues, I guess you could say. And not only that, but like, the signs that I've been getting now have been more clear to me than before. Um, this whole month of isolation, I've actually really learned how to connect with my team on like a good level. You know what I mean? I don't feel like I don't feel as oppressed, as depressed, as anxious, as chaotic as I used to. Like, in this point in time, I feel good. I feel at peace. Like, I know that I yo-yo, that I have my ups and downs, especially when my emotions are involved, when I'm going through things in my personal life. 11/11. But I think there's only one person that can really affect that, because other than that, nobody outside of my circle matters enough to affect my moods anymore. I mean, I still absorb all the negativity, and yes, it weighs heavy on me, and it's so annoying. Especially 11:33, especially when you are trying to be kind and nice and not be rude to people, because even though they talk shit behind your back, as long as they give you respect to your face, like, it doesn't matter. It's not my business. Their opinion of me is not my business. It's not my problem. Like, 11:55. And that's another thing that also helped me with the fighting with my anger, because I don't need to prove anything anymore. That's another thing. I don't have to prove anything. Everything that I had to prove, I proved to myself 12/12 a long time ago. And I continue to prove it to myself in this point in time, without needing to have validation from somebody else. And all of this I had to relearn, because I had already learned it previously, but I dropped the ball because, like I said, when I do fall in love, like, I only focus on one thing, and I kind of neglect myself, in order to fill their cup, to make my partners happy, whomever I'm with at the time. Like, I always leave myself to the side to try to help them come up, because I've noticed that, I've always been drawn to people who I need to help, and I'm pretty sure that's also the empath side of me. Not everybody, because I know that some of them, like, you know, they do it on their own, 1313. But I don't know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I know what I mean. And I'm not saying this to put anybody down, because that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I'm not trying to put anybody from my past down, because these are lessons that I learned. These are lessons that taught me something. And even though in a lot of my past relationships I repeated the same mistakes, I realized that I had to keep repeating them with different avatars until I learned the lesson. And I was watching one of my TikTok friends that I consider like a sister, even though we don't talk or anything that much. Like, spiritually, we go through the same thing. Spiritually, we have the same points of views. 1414. So when I saw her video, I was like, yes, I totally resonate with this. Hopefully I can do a duet one day, but like, the point is that she was talking about how she would repeat certain cycles with her previous boyfriends and stuff like that. And it wasn't until she learned the lesson, because this lesson is not optional 444. Like, these are lessons that we come here to learn. And if you're spiritual and you believe in reincarnations and you believe that we're ascending to, to elevate to something higher, etc., then you understand what I'm talking about. And in order to break all these cycles, we have to learn the lesson. That's why it comes from people that you love. It comes from people that impact you, 1515. It comes from the people that are supposed to make you learn. That's how these soul contracts are made. Like, this is the reason why you gravitate to certain people, why you're attracted to certain people, because these are tests that you also need to learn. Whether it's a test or a blessing, like, you're gravitating for a reason. It doesn't just happen because. The question is, can you tell if it's a test or can you tell if it's a blessing? No, most of the time I still can't because of my own traumas, 555, because of my past, because of me self-sabotaging. But learning how to distinguish the patterns in your life will help you distinguish the test. And that's exactly what I've been doing this whole week, trying to decipher everything, trying to categorize everything, 1616, like trying to just reflect about me. Not only in the things that I like, because I already know what I like. I already established all of that. I established what I like. I established who I am, like, stuff like that. But the hard part for me was my communication, my feelings, my release of control, and all the toxicity that I carried within me, not only from my generational traumas, but from my past and from, a lot of my culture that was imprinted in me, and the way I was raised and stuff like that. Like, those were the hard parts for me, because I was molded to be strong-minded, strong-willed, but at the same time, I didn't know how to use it properly. I kind of just rebelled and wanted to do my own thing because of how unheard I felt, 1717, because of how ignored I've always felt. So I realized that the more ignored I felt, the more I would act out, the more I would lash out, the more I would be louder, the more I just did things for attention that I shouldn't have done. So I started parenting myself, kind of like another child, that every time I acted out, I was like, okay, what's wrong now? Like, what do I need in this point in time for me to calm the fuck down? And, it's kind of like a kid that throws a tantrum, and the more attention you give them, they're like, oh, this works. So this is how you're going to give me attention, then I'm going to do it again. And I realized I was doing that with my lashing out, with my also ignoring people, because then I realized if I ignore you, then you're going to give me attention. 1818. If I do this, you're going to give me attention. If I do this, you're going to tell me you love me. Like, if you do this, you're going to remember you love me. Like, if I do this, you're going to feel fearful to lose me, and you're going to give me the attention I'm literally crying out for. I know it's wrong, because if you're not getting the attention, the validation, the love that you need for you, you don't have to be doing all those things, which, I learned the hard way, apparently, from my past relationships, and not all of them, but, like, certain of them, because, I wasn't an angel myself. I had my own share of shit. As you can see, me acting out is not a very healed thing to do, and this is, like, I saw 911 again, so another tower moment. Like, it's just a lot of information, a lot of healing, a lot of processing, 1919, that I did. So let's go to part 2.